Michelle Pearson here from Raw Spirit 2009 East Coast Edition, and sitting in front of me is the wonderful Paul Nison, long-term raw fooder and New Yorker, right?
You got it. Brooklyn's in the house.
Hell yeah. So Paul, can you share with our viewers the health challenges that you had and what eventually led you to the raw path?
I had inflammatory bowel disease, also known as ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, and the doctors told me that there was no cure. They wanted me on drugs. They told me I was high risk for cancer. They told me I'd have to get my colon taken out eventually. To this day, there's no medical cure for inflammatory bowel disease, but I tell everyone, just because there's no cure doesn't mean, according to the medical society, doesn't mean there's no cure. I did everything the doctor told me to do, just short of cutting out my colon. I wasn't getting better, I was getting worse. So then I got wise and I started doing the opposite. I got better. Somebody told me that if I reduce the things that are causing my problem, or eliminate the things causing my problem would go away. So that made sense to me. So the first thing I did was I eliminated my doctor, and right away I started to feel better. And I am from New York, so I didn't like eliminate my doctor. I just stopped visiting her, and I got to clarify that. And I just learned about. I ended up moving to Florida without even knowing it, right next to a place called the Hippocrates Health Institute, and that's where they teach raw foods, the whole lifestyle and everything. And I went there and I learned about the raw food diet and so on. And I asked my doctor at the time if she thought it would work, and she told me no, so I knew I was on the right path. And that's the last time I spoke to her. I went on a diet, and I've been better since. On this diet path, there was many stages to it. At first, it was just eating anything I can get that was raw, but then I realized just because it's raw, it's not healthy. And I cut out all the dehydrated and raw junk foods and just stuck to the fruits and vegetables. And over the years, a lot of people would come out with new items that I would test and try, and nothing worked, like just fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. The more we take them out of their natural state, the more we get away from our natural state, and the sicker we become. So I've learned it's not just raw. At first that might be enough, but eventually you want to eat as simple as possible. And I just come out with a new book because I also found out it's not the quality of the food, it's not only the amount of food, but it's also the time we eat. The name of my new book is called The Daylight Diet. When the sun goes down, it's time for us to rest, because when the sun goes down, digestion slows down. And when the sun is out, digestion is best, without a doubt. So we got to slow down, towards the end of the day and get ready to get to sleep, And so that's what I'm teaching now. And my book, The Daylight Diet, talks all about that. And it's really exciting because for the first time in a long time, this isn't a new message about the daylight diet, but it's one we've gotten away from. So you can't just eat a salad any time of the day and think it's good for you. If you eat it at noon, it's completely different than you eat it at midnight. So I'm just teaching people to eat the right amount of food, the right type of food, and at the right times.
Great, great. And what would you say to someone new to raw food and they have no idea where to start because there's so many conflicting points of interest? Some people tell you, hey, garlic is really bad for you, or garlic's great, or chocolate's good, or chocolate's not. What would you say to someone like that that's new and they have no idea, who to listen to or what to do?
Well, I wrote a book called The Raw Life. It's the first raw book. It's the first book I wrote, and a lot of people have first started out with that book, which tells them how to just eliminate things they're struggling with, just incorporate more raw foods into their lifestyle and their diet. But health doesn't begin with what we add to our diet, it's what we eliminate. Eliminate the things causing the problem, and the problem begins to go away. As for what to do, I would just say, it's an individualized thing. It should be based on our blood work. Get a blood chemistry test and monitor your blood work. Nutrients, the first place we should get them from is the whole foods, whether it's a blended form, a juice form, or a whole form, but that's the best place to get them, from the fruits and vegetables themselves, even the nuts and the seeds sprouted. But then from there, if people struggle still and they're not able to assimilate the nutrients, getting whole foods in a supplement form might be helpful. But you don't really need much more than that. I find a bigger issue with people focusing so much on their food, they're not getting enough exercise and enough sleep. And sleep is big. All health is based on the quantity and quality of sleep we get. And that's the whole point of eating healthy, is to put our body in a position where we can get enough sleep. And a good quality sleep. And when we eat raw, that's what makes it happen if we do it the right way. Unfortunately, I see a lot of people doing it the wrong way and they get themselves in trouble. So I would say, if you're going to listen to somebody, the best person is the people that have the experience. And yeah, there are people that have been doing this a little while, but people that are selling a lot of products and and charging a lot of money and doing all these things, I'd be very skeptical of those people. You know, the best place I have found that works and knows what they're doing, because they base everything on a person's blood chemistry and not on you know, on a supplement or anything else, is Hippocrates Health Institute, based on Ann Wigmore Living Foods Lifestyle, now taken over by Brian Clement and Victoria Skabinskis. I'd recommend the Hippocrates diet over all the others, but really be careful and understand, you know, the healthy food is a food you can put in the ground and it's going to grow into more food. You know, if it's not healthy food. If it's in a bag, can, package, container, bottle, or anything like that, it's not a healthy food, especially if it doesn't have an expiration date. So we have to be careful with that, and I'll tell you that there's things being promoted in the raw food world today that are not healthy, so be careful. I don't care what anyone says. The raw chocolate, cacao is not healthy. Things that come in these bottles and these cans and these raw food candy bars and chips, they might be occasional, you know, foods during the transition period, but in the long run, those are not healthy and they should be avoided. They're not eaten for their nutrients; they're eaten for their, you know, for their pleasure, comfort foods until you can get past that. So we should just be careful and just be smart. And you don't have to spend a lot of money on this. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars. And all the information you need actually can be found on the internet. And you know, my books, and I'm also supplying a video show every day that I do on rawlifehealthshow.com. And I have a lot of information on my website, paulnison.com.
Great. Awesome. And lastly, what would you say, since we're getting ready to close the Raw Spirit in a few hours, what was the best thing that you experienced here?
Being interviewed by you. No, the best thing is, I guess, I saw a lot of friends that I haven't seen before. Being on the East Coast where people can understand my language.
Yes, accent. Yes, Philly in the house, yo.
Yeah, there you go. So that's it. That's what it's about, you know. And I've just connected with the East Coast vibe. It's beautiful, and Raw Spirit is great. You know, I mean, I think Happy and the crew, they put together a big thing. I know what it is like. I've been around this for a long time, and I know it's not easy to put on a perfect event. So I really, you know, respect that. You know, even though year after year she, you know, it's struggles with it, that she keeps with it, and she knows, you know, people are getting saved and really turned on, and that support is needed. So I thank Happy and the crew for doing this, and the volunteers. And you know, it's not easy to get out here, and it's certainly not a moneymaker for me, Happy, or anyone, but it's an educational maker, and we're providing education for people, and those people will come back later on. So it is an investment for all of us, because later on, those people will get into this lifestyle, and they'll buy a juicer from me, they'll send people to other Raw Spirit festivals. So I take that back, it is a moneymaker, just not immediately. But it's all about investment, and the first thing is we're investing in people's health, we're teaching them to invest in their own health, and it's a great investment in our environment, because we teach people, you know, how to, you know, live off the land and so on. And I love educating people, because I don't like to see people with disease or in pain, and that's why I do what I do, and it's just a wonderful time being here. It was supposed to rain. They said even a hurricane was supposed to come, and it held up, and the weather was absolutely gorgeous. And this event particularly, I think out of all the other Raw Spirits, if anyone's out there watching this, get to Raw Spirit East.
Yes.
This event particularly was very, very exciting, and I really respected this event. You know, first of all, you didn't have a lot of the West Coast gurus there's a different vibe on the East Coast, and it's glad to see the East Coast here. The Raw Food East Coast, which I came from, New York East Coast, there's something different about it, and I won't get into explaining that, but it was nice. It worked out. I had a great crowd. Happy was great. The crew was great, and you know, I'm looking forward to connecting with more people more times, and keep up the great work, everybody.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Paul.
Thank you.
Love it.
Okay.
All right. Peace out.
My website, Paul.
Yes.
PaulNison.com.
Spell that for us.
PaulNison.com is my website. My web store is rawlife.com, where you can get my new book, The Daylight Diet. And then my health show is the rawlifevideoshow.com. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Have a great day and a great raw life.
Thanks. Later.